an amazing, simple to use software like Wirecaster. What time is it?
What did the boy say? It reminded him of
What boys?
my son, Stevie.
It reminded him of the serial killer basement.
Serial killer basement. Yeah, the lights hanging out of the ceiling.
Your son is funny because he's a bit of a comedian. You've sent me some stuff from his school, where he's done like comedy writing and things, and he's pretty creative. And the funny thing, he said, he called the basement the serial killer basement. But the reason I thought it was so funny was because he came to the kitchen and he said, "Oh, okay, so I assume you guys will be doing your show in our very nice living room," knowing full well we weren't. And so you're like, "No, Stevie, we're going to be in the basement." He's like, "Oh, in the serial killer basement." So he like thought about it and then set himself up for the joke.
Yes.
And I like that.
Yeah, well, he's a bright kid. He's way smarter than I was when I was his age.
I don't know about that because you were pretty funny at when you were younger too, which is I think why we became friends. The first time we ever met was at the church youth group, and I went in, and the high school met in the basement, and I was a new kid, new town, new church, and the Sunday school had already started. And so about maybe 5 or 10 minutes into it, all of a sudden we were in the basement. So there was a little window along the ceiling that was probably like 2 feet big or something. It was a small little half window. And you opened up the window and then crawled into the window in the middle of the class and made as big of a disruption as you can.
Church was late. Like we were like 10, 15 minutes late.
Yeah, it had already gone.
And so instead of going through the door like everyone else, I decided that it would be fun to just crawl through the window.
Yeah. And with me being so incredibly self-conscious, I grew up in a very conservative Christian home. And when I would go to church at my other church before that, my friends were kind of like, it wasn't cool. If we were, if it came time for everybody to sing, of course we would never sing. They would never sing, and I sure as heck wasn't going to be the only one singing. It was like very much like we're way cooler than this. This is stupid church, and of course that wasn't my family life, but that was my expectation. And so then coming into a new place, I assumed that everybody at this church was going to be like my friends at the other church. And so I was like walked in with a too cool, don't make a sound or whatever, but that's not really my personality. And so when you just came crashing in, making a spectacle of yourself, like intentionally disrupting everything, and everybody laughed. And even the teacher, Steve, our youth leader, he thought it was funny. He was like, "All right, chill out. We're going back to business." And I was like, man, that's the guy I gotta, I don't know who this guy is, but man, balls. That's what I thought. I'm like, this guy's fearless. And you came up to me and introduced me. That was your thing. Make people feel welcome. And then we were friends basically immediately because you came up to me and there was no other options. So.
Yeah, you remember the first thing you said to me?
I actually do. Because my parents make me dress nice for church. I remember saying, just so you know, I don't normally dress like this, which was like a button up and jeans. And you were like, "It's okay. I think you look fine." It's like, which is that probably was sort of a bizarre thing for a kid to say. And then it was like later on in the day, I noticed, hey, he's got a collar. You were dressed pretty nice for church too. So yeah, that was the beginning. And so now, a lot of life has happened. Well, not for me. But you're in a different spot.
Yeah.
You live in the same place, but your life has developed.
Definitely. Yeah. Been married for 13 years now, and we've got 5 kids.
Yeah.
So Stevie's just turned 12. So
Okay. And who else? You got Stevie. The
Stevie
oldest is a
and-
boy.
Yep. And then Ellie. Her name's Lee Elizabeth, but we call her by her initials.
Yep.
Ellie is an exciting little girl. She's an artist.
Okay.
Then we've got Rose. She's kind of the free spirit.
Okay.
And then Daisy. Daisy's our comedian. And then Maggie. She's too young to really have a good firm handle on who she is.
She's
She's
not
about
even
10
one.
months.
Less than 1.
Yeah. Cool.
So we're I want to say we're in the middle of, but who knows anymore. The coronavirus hit in March, and we have been stir crazy. It's probably why we're talking on the phone so much, partially because everybody's locked down in their house and nothing's open. Can't go to the movie theater. There's no concerts. There's no shows. Anything with a crowd is closed. And we all thought maybe it would last a month. And here we are 5.5 months or 5 months out. And everything's still shut down. It's the craziest dang thing.
Yeah.
Got to wear a mask everywhere. If you don't, people will yell at you. Like not even the government, just other people. But
And
the
I'm
government, too.
shopping for masks. Like, I'm actually going on Amazon and actually searching out styles of masks, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure. The paper masks, they're cool. They're light. They're not too hard on your ears.
Right.
But, if you're going to be working and having these masks on all day, you got to have the right mask. So I've got Levi's masks. Mm-hmm. I've got these like safety glasses with a full blown shield, which is pretty nice. Mm-hmm. And then I got some of those paper masks, but most of the time I just steal them from Costco or Home Depot. They let me take one.
So far, they haven't been good at regulating the kind of masks. They haven't made you.
Yeah, I cut holes in my paper mask all the time, and I'm like the Lone Ranger.
Got a big hole, a hole in the middle.
No,
I'm
just
technically
two
wearing a
eyes.
mask.
2 eyes. Hi-yo, Silver.
Oh, I see. So they're not regulating the kind of mask, which is cool. So I got one of those, like, it's very thin, stretchy turtleneck thing that I just wear around my neck like a scarf, and then I put it up over my nose if I'm going anywhere. But I'm thinking to myself, like, almost all of my breath is going just straight through the cloth because it's tight. And then every time I breathe in,
But it's catching the coronavirus.
it's
That's the key.
just the coronavirus is getting
The coronavirus-
getting caught in the fibers.
In those fibers, there's coronavirus magnets.
Right.
And it sucks them in. And then your
Exactly.
air is able to flow through it nicely.
And it sure is. And so my breath is normally fresh, and I was bragging about it to my sister. And my sister's like, "Oh no, my mask is better. You should try this on." And she hands me this mask, and it's a little tiny black, basically mosquito net. And it's got like frilly lace thing that goes around your ears, so it's like decorative. It looks like
underwear.
It looks like a patch of lingerie. Yeah, it looks like a tiny little square of like
Underwear.
lingerie.
Yeah.
And it's like that kind, but very see-through lingerie. Like this is like a mosquito net, like a screen door.
Yeah. So it catches even less.
You could lip read somebody wearing this mask. And so he was like, there's not even a delay. So I'm like, well, yeah,
It's going to get to the point where there's just like a string around your mouth.
yeah. I mean,
And you're like, it is a mask.
you joked about cutting a hole in it, but what would happen if you walked into a Menards, which is where my dad got kicked out of for not having a mask, and just because there's no rules. I mean, the governor of Michigan said there's no rules. What would happen if you wore like a regular old hospital mask, but you just cut a big hole right in the front?
Originally, there were people doing that so they could smoke.
I saw a video of two people sitting at a restaurant, and then one of them had a hamburger.
Yeah.
And then he just opened his mouth, and the mask split in half, and he shoved the hamburger in his mask, and then closed, and then kept chewing. But that might have been just a joke. I don't know, but it looked real. Yeah. But we live in a crazy thing. We just heard you sent me a video today talking about New York City and how New York City is basically leveled. And the video showed the guy going up and down the streets of Fifth Avenue, and all the stores boarded up and no one on the street. Every time you go to New York, unless it's late at night, there's a crowd of people on both sides. That's the iconic symbol. New York has got the wide sidewalk, and you got 6 or 7 across.
Cars everywhere.
Heads bobbing, all the cars honking. And this guy's just cruising through with his camera down the street. There's no traffic. And he's like, well, the companies are all making adjustments to not have to go into the office, because if you're able to work from home, the government is saying you should work from home.
And I'm working from home.
I'm working. How are you doing that? You're a school teacher. I guess everybody who is watching this will know, because we're not really reporting from the future.
Yes.
But still, it's kind of crazy that you could be a school teacher. You'd think those were one job that would never work.
Although I will say this.
Okay.
We are doing virtual, but they're asking us to come in a couple days a week. I think just to know that we're
doing something. Are the
there.
students?
No, the students aren't coming in.
Ever?
Not for the foreseeable future.
They said foreseeable future?
No, well, I don't know what the official language, but somebody said at least September and October. So it's
But that's only a month. September in 10 days.
and October are 2 months.
Okay, so not September and October. I thought you said at least until September.
We won't be going to school during September and October.
Okay, so they're still doing it incrementally. They didn't just cancel the whole season.
Yeah, they still want to see my pretty face at the building, but
Well, who can blame them?
Yeah.
So that's nuts. Kids not going to school because they're the highest risk. No, not.
No.
I've always said I hope that I get it, just because I'm not a high-risk person for having it affect me seriously. Mm-hmm. And my lifestyle is I work from home. I live. I can contain myself. So it's like, if I get it, that would be great, because then I can get the antibodies. And I was talking to a friend of mine today, actually, and he said, well, no, the antibodies aren't really that great, because a buddy of mine got it. He had asthma, so it was pretty bad. And then his girlfriend got it a couple months later, and he got it again. Oh. And he said it was worse the second time.
Huh. It's what they always say. It's always worse the second time.
Yeah. What else do they say that for?
Riding a bike.
That's usually better the second time, isn't it? Well, so yeah, I don't know if that's true. And I don't really know what to believe. I said in the very beginning that this is going to become political, but I didn't exactly know how. I didn't know which side was going to be what.
We couldn't foreseer, Dave.
I knew it.
I think this might become political.
This is why
during an election year, a highly polarizing idea become political.
This is why we're offering the Good Racer podcast, because it's not fair for only you to hear it first. Other people need to know. I mean, how are you going to know if I don't tell you?
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. I feel like I wasn't alone in that. I think a lot of people thought it'll get political, but I don't think, initially no one knew how or why. My brother was talking to me about the church and should the church stay home and everything. And I was like, yeah, there's a terrible virus that we don't know that much about. And everything I've heard is horrid. So yeah, take a couple weeks off. Let's try and curb the thing so the hospitals don't get overrun. I bought it. And so I didn't think, me being, a libertarian who's very against, government control of darn near anything, I was totally fine with, yeah, it's okay for public health. We can all stay home for a couple weeks and try and help what we can, the hospitals and all the people who are inevitably going to get it. Because, I mean, they were telling us 25 million Californians are going to get this in the next 6 months. So,
Yeah. And
or maybe in total, but they were saying it like it's going to be really bad for the next couple months. And we got to just, there's no stopping it is what we were told. But if we can make it to where the same amount of people get it, but over a longer period of time,
Flatten
then
the
it's
curve.
like, then it's like the hospitals can be helping patients get out of the hospital at the same time as they come in.
Yeah.
It's like you don't seat everybody who's going to eat for the night at the restaurant at the same, you don't schedule them all for 7 and then expect them all to be out by 9. It's like, it's going to just be a big cluster. So you've got to, you got to take them in and let them out. So it made sense to me.
Now, going back to the church, in my mind, it's just common sense that if you want to go to church during this time, you might make the decision not to if you're at a high risk. Your church might decide this is something that we're going to decide as a community. We're going to go ahead and cancel church or do online church for this time. Just because it's online doesn't mean it's not,
Right.
a church service. I think our church did it before it even was asked of them, right?
Yeah. My church is still doing it.
And they don't
They
need
haven't,
to.
they haven't opened.
But they're not. It's not an edict telling them that they have to not meet.
I think the last I heard was that they were allowing churches to meet because there's so many churches now just defying the order
Okay.
that they said, but don't sing. So
No.
you have to be 6 feet apart and don't sing.
See, and that just seems. I get it. I get that singing is going to put out more air, and you could more likely get it.
Especially
But-
the way you sing.
Exactly. You know what they say:
Yeah.
sing it, don't spray it.
That's right.
There's all sorts of sayings we've got today for you. But
It's also a saying.
but I think they crossed a line. They crossed a line when they told you how you could participate in church. I think that it's not really the government's place to say, "Hey, you're not allowed to go to church," but I think that most churches would anyhow would stop would stop the church services so that they could.
Yeah. We're going, everybody stand. We're going to hum Amazing Grace.
Everyone, get out your kazoos.
That's right. So yeah, I'm not a very good podcaster. I guess I'm pretty rusty because I just grabbed the foam part of my microphone and straightened it. It's probably you're not supposed to do that. Then you just did it too, so now I'm out of trouble. You demonstrated it, so now the listener is like, ah.
Well, it'd be better if we had the mic stands that we could keep it on and not touch.
I kind of like holding it because I feel like I'm a singer.
Forget the movie. I think it's Will Ferrell, and he's like touching the microphone. I think it might be Talladega Nights.
Oh, I don't remember Talladega Nights. There was some funny parts in Talladega Nights.
He's like, I don't know what to do with this. It's in there, I swear.
Help me. Tom Cruise, use your witchcraft to put out the fire. So yeah, well, the other thing is the conversation is we're now talking about it 5 months later.
Yes.
So it's like you had me at the flatten the curve, and you told me everybody's going to get it.
How long does this curve last?
Right. Now that we've flattened it, it seems like we have a steady clip of people getting it. And it's like, well, we're at, what's the latest numbers? Like 2 million or something? Or do you know how many there are?
I have no idea. And let's face it, there's no way to know how many people have had the virus.
Oh no, they have it on the website. I'll give you an exact number in like 2 seconds. 22 million globally. And in the US, In the U.S., there is, I don't know. It says there's 174,000 deaths, but I don't know. Oh, yeah.
5.5 million.
5.5 million. There's 300 million people in the U.S. So if we're going to get to half, that'd be 150. We're only at 5 out of 150.
But these are confirmed cases.
Yeah.
And
So there's probably been more.
oh, this is the minimum number it could be.
Okay. So you're saying it could be wrapping up.
No, not even close to
Because
that.
my point was, obviously, it's changed now to whatever you do, don't get sick. Like hide from the disease. We're no longer flattening the curve. We're all trying to avoid getting sick. Which, I mean, trying to avoid getting sick is not a bad idea. But if it's going to shut New York City down, and it's going to, and it's like the talk of New York City never coming back because all of the office spaces, I mean, businesses have reorganized and a lot of them realize that people are working longer and better at home.
Yeah, more effective at home.
I am. I work way more hours because I don't have a 45-minute commute in the morning. And then when it's getting dark outside and it's getting 6 o'clock, I'm like, I still got to go 45 minutes home.
Yeah.
So I'm encouraged to wrap up. But and then when I'm at home, if I get an email, it's like, well, do I really want to go pop my laptop, log back in, and then start working or continue that project that I was working? It's easy just to eat dinner, let a little time slip by, and then go to bed and say, I'll have to take care of it tomorrow. But if your workstation is already set up all the time, it's like, well, I took a break, I ate dinner, I watched
Back to the grind.
Yeah, I watched a television show, and now there's no reason for me not to go and finish up what I had already started anyway. So sometimes I'm working until like 10 or 11 for fun. Like I'm not even getting paid for this. I'm just like, okay, if I really wanted to wrap up, I would do all this. So I think a lot of people are doing that, but it's crazy, and it's frustrating that everything doesn't make sense, and it's frustrating that it's an election year, and it's frustrating that they're going to have mail-in voting because they don't want to have crowds voting together. But if you don't have anybody showing up to say, yes, I voted, can't somebody just download the list of people and, pull all the, the names and then just fill in papers? And I don't know, but what's the verification on an envelope? And how do you count, 150 million envelopes accurately?
And how do you get them their sticker? That's what I'm concerned about. I want my sticker.
Well, as a Canadian, I'm not allowed to vote.
That's true.
Of course, how are they going to check? I usually get my sticker on the floor of a Home Depot.
Oh, okay.
Or, so I got it last time. So, my prediction.
I'm going to put my sticker on my mask when we get it. That'll be
saying
cool.
I voted.
I voted.
Well, here's a prediction. Here's another example of something you've never heard before. You don't see it coming yet, but it's going to come true.
Okay.
When the voting comes in, it's going to be very contentious, those results.
We're talking hanging chads.
We're talking
contentious.
times. It's going to be worse than that.
Yeah, it is.
This is going to be a nightmare. It won't be a election night.
No.
There will not be an election night like normal.
Unless it's an overwhelming victory.
It's going to be an election 3 months. I bet you that and the scary thing is our country has never had a transfer of, every time we transfer power, we do it peacefully.
Yeah.
Every time. Even Obama and Trump, Bush and Obama.
Although I heard they stole some, Clinton, I guess, stole all the W's off the keyboards of the computers. So that was, I don't know, maybe not peaceful.
I haven't heard that, but if that's true, I would begin to question Bill Clinton's character.
Well,
but I haven't heard verification of that because that's theft.
I think you could even get them on,
In some ways, it would have been better to take the whole keyboard.
Yes, because you wouldn't be sitting there trying to.
Keyboard's missing. We got random guy who buys keyboards. I don't know. There's probably a guy who buys.
There's definitely a keyboard
office.
buyer at
Yeah.
the White House.
Yeah, and
But how do you get W keys?
well, he was a Democrat because if I was the keyboard buyer and my guy came into office and I saw all the W's, I would just buy new keyboards and not say anything. But if all the O's were gone, I'd tell him.
I totally don't. I'm not following.
I'm saying that the keyboard buyer
Uh-huh.
was a Democrat because all the W's were missing. He made sure to let everybody know, hey, W's are gone. Right? Like,
Yeah.
because how you think George Bush is in there inspecting the keyboards? You think he types a lot? But it's like, I've heard that.
I think
national
he's
news.
maybe at the highest amount of typing of all of our presidents, minus phone keyboards.
Yeah. Well, he also typed.
Obama was big on the BlackBerry.
Yeah.
Trump's big on the iPhone.
The trouble with W is he couldn't spell very good. So he had the most letters.
He just used two U's.
He had the most letters, but not the most words. But anyway, so yeah, that's my prediction. My prediction is the results of this election are going to be very contentious. And it won't be an election night. It'll be multiple.
Multiple nights.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, you might be right.
We'll look back at
We'll
this,
look back at
and you're going to be like, okay,
sometime in
August 20th, well, 21st.
sometime in
Where we
August
are.
we had this conversation.
Yeah, where we are. It's only 10 o'clock where I'm from. This is going to be fun in the future when we have Jordan on here. Because Jordan's an interesting guy. He'll bring an interesting element to the show, I think.
Okay. How so?
Well,
Tell us about Jordan.
so Jordan, I've lived with Jordan for now 2 years. Almost 2 years, I think. And we have an awesome spot. When I moved out to California, I moved out there from Texas, and I was only planning on being there for 4 months. I went there as a consultant for a company. There was a 4-month contract, and I was just going to be there for a bit, head back home. So I actually stayed with my uncle for 4 months, and then they said, okay, we need you for 3 more months. So I was like, hey, can I stay here for 3 more months? And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I stayed there for 3 more months. But then that makes 7 months. And they're like, all right, we just need you for 3 more months. And I was like, well, shoot, it is. I know it's only 3 more months because I'm not very good. So I'm like, well, there was a lot of things about this company when I first got there that I didn't have a lot of experience in. Like, they told me it was one thing. I thought it was one thing, and the job ended up being kind of totally different. I had to figure it out. So I'm thinking I'm doing a bad job, but they keep extending me and giving me more and more responsibility. And now I've lived with my uncle for 7 months, and it was just time to get my own place because it's not like I can't pay for my own spot. And I thought, well, but it's only 3 months, and it's hard to get an apartment for a very short period of time without paying astronomical amounts of money. And I found a month-to-month rental right on the beach.
Okay.
And Dennis's mom lives on the beach, and when I went and visited...
Remember the stories about Jordan.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm just talking to you like I normally do.
Yeah.
I'm noticing now that I talk a lot.
So Dennis's
mom lives on the
who
beach.
is not involved.
Yeah, I was just talking about my house now.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jordan did the same thing as me. He wanted to live on the beach.
Yeah.
So he looked me up on Craigslist. And so I have this cool spot on the beach that's got rooms, and we have 4 of us rent this house.
Okay.
And it's right on the water. So we run this place. We call it the Jade Manor. Each one of those letters, JAID, stands for each member of the we are right on Seashore Drive. That's the Seashore Crew.
Each
And
letter
so-
is
JAID.
an initial? Oh, okay.
So Jordan, JA.
there's letters involved. You want George W. Bush to come in here and help you out with this?
The guy that I was talking to on the phone right before the show that I had mentioned, about the Corona stuff. It's Calvin, my old roommate.
Okay.
And I was like, wait, where's Calvin? No, Apollo, guy who worked with Calvin. So it's Jordan, Apollo, Ivan, and Dave.
I will crush you.
Yeah. So anyway, it'll be fun, and we're going to be in California, so we're going to have a studio kind of like this, and we'll be talking, and then we'll have to cut you in, and your studio will probably be
Nowhere near done.
we'll probably see the
progress.
progressing.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we won't have pretty pink foam walls.
No Pink Panther.
No Pink Panther. This
But-
podcast was brought to you by DuPont, Owens Corning, Foamular 150, with our value of 5.
And the letters Q and the number 4.
So I was in the car the other day, right?
Okay. Yep.
And I was about to pass someone, right? And we're trolling around. We're on the expressway. It's my daughter. Every day that I go someplace, my daughter, Daisy, she's like, Dad, where are you going? And I'm like, well, I'm going to Home Depot. And she's like, I really want to go. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. So if I know I'm going to be there for a long time, I won't take her. But if I'm just going to pick up a couple things, I'll take her.
Right.
And typically she's looking to score an extra treat.
A candy of some sort.
Candy or potentially a McDonald's Happy Meal, whatever, she's pretty good at. So, so we get in the car, we get on the expressway, we're going along, and I recognize I need to go a little faster to pass this car, right? So I slam on the gas, and we're of course under the speed limit, but
Obviously.
and my daughter screams, "Daddy mode!" And in that moment,
Yeah.
I was the most proud father in my entire life. Like, that daddy mode is something like I would like to brand for myself to teach the children what they should say if I slam on the gas.
Well, you need to invent a button in the car
Like
that is to engage daddy mode.
Yeah, and I do have a hazard light that I think will work for that purpose. But now, so Daisy had been doing this, right? Like,
Yep.
and so now all the kids, when I slam on the gas,
It's daddy
they
mode.
all 5 of them, including the 8-month or the 10-month,
Yep.
they all scream, "Daddy mode!"
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of the proudest moments of my entire life as a father. I strongly suggest it. Fathering is cool, and you can have kids that scream "daddy mode" for you.
I'm very jealous of your situation. I just haven't been able to figure. Oh, you weren't directing that right at me.
No,
It's like I hear you, Steve. I believe you.
I strongly suggest
Yeah.
that you be a father.
You'd be an idiot not to be. You don't want to find yourself like 40 and single. Ooh. Well, my dad did something like that where whenever he was running a yellow light and he punch it, he would say bonsai.
Okay.
Bonsai.
Yeah,
And then
that's almost as cool.
yeah, so the kids, well, it's not because my dad's the one who created bonsai, and the kids followed dad's lead.
Okay. Yeah,
See,
that's
you
not
had
as cool.
you had a kid actually come up with it,
Yes.
and the other kids followed that. So you have the children are in agreement, and they have assigned daddy mode.
Daddy mode.
See, my dad invented his own because his kids weren't catching on. I guess we were just.
Was it when he slammed on the
immune to-
gas? That...
Yeah, it was when we'd go through the yellow light.
Oh, the yellow light.
It was
Okay.
always it was never when he slammed on the gas regular. It was just when you're going to the intersection and it's green and then it goes yellow. And then you slam on it and you're looking at the light to see if you're going to beat it. And my dad would just be like, bonsai across as we cross the intersection. And then my mom told him to stop doing that. And so he said he would. And then
Let me guess.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Well, I don't know what happened, but yeah, the youngest kid, when he was driving with both my parents, they went through the yellow light, and my dad didn't do anything. But the youngest one in the back screamed out "Bonsai!"
Oh, ratted him out.
Yeah, which my mom was like, "You told me you were not to do that anymore."
Yeah, I didn't. He did that on his own.
So
it's like Daisy. He just came up with it on his own.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my father told me red lights mean stop,
right,
green lights mean go,
right,
yellow lights mean speed up.
Speed up. Okay.
Yeah, this was like, I remember being 16 in driver's ed thinking, I thought it meant speed up. And they're like, no, yield and probably stop. And I feel like that seems a little lame.
Yeah.
But
That's what I always said about no ring is a green light. Wedding ring is a red light. Engagement ring is a yellow light. It means stop if you can.
okay, so
It's about to go red.
say this again.
No ring
No ring.
is a green light.
Green light. Yeah.
Yeah, single.
Yeah.
Wedding ring is a red light.
Definite.
Hard stop.
Hard stop.
An engagement ring is a yellow light,
Okay.
which means
You better speed up.
if you can stop, you have to because it's about to turn red.
Yeah.
If you can't stop though, you better punch it because your window of time.
Because your window of time
Window
is
of
very
time.
small.
Yeah.
Just because there's a goalie doesn't mean you can't score. Right?
Well, that's kind of, well, I mean, obviously you want to do it the right way, but yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to make it crass. I was just saying you better get her to change her mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Quick.
Got it.
Before she gets married to someone else.
Exactly.
And there's
Then
a
it's
diminishing return here as
Then
well.
it's red.
You could get very close to the time of marriage and then it gets a little taboo for you to be,
No, I don't
showing
care
up
about
at the
that.
wedding.
Oh, that's fine. As long as it's before the I do.
Okay.
No wiggle room after that. Could be the morning of. If you're that sure. But I mean, I wouldn't go after somebody who is engaged because it doesn't seem like, I mean, you'd have to really be sure. It's almost an impossible situation that I would pursue somebody that's engaged to someone else because you kind of lost at that point. I mean, if she's in some ways, it actually works against you because if she changes her mind and she's engaged,
then she's just going to change her mind for you.
definitely for me. But I mean, I was thinking she would even change her mind for anyone.
Yeah.
So
They
anyway,
made a movie about that.
They did?
Runaway Bride.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the nice things about not being married is I am the only person I have to consult when it's time to watch a movie, and I've never seen that movie.
Yeah. Well,
It doesn't.
it's really not about that situation at all.
Oh, it's
but
not?
she just, on her wedding day, she runs
the
away.
title works.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
there's not another guy chasing her?
it depends maybe.
Huh.
But she's ran away from many, many weddings.
Okay.
It's a pretty
So-
good movie.
What would you like to see out of this? What would be the best case scenario for you? You've got other projects going on.
I do. Yeah.
So what is it that you're working on as well as this new thing that I'm trying to put together?
Yeah. Well, we are working on an additional podcast, and it would be a podcast about people that are fulfilling the Great Commission.
Okay.
So we're talking people that are doing prison ministry. We're talking people that are doing support to churches in local areas. We have people that are going overseas for missions. People here in the States that are preparing people to go into the mission field. We have all sorts of people that are fulfilling the Great Commission by teaching and spreading the gospel and baptizing. And so we want to focus on these people because the idea is I really enjoy reading these books that are by missionaries, Brother Andrew, the Heavenly Man, God Smuggler was Brother Andrew's book. These are great books. These are like the most exciting thing I've ever read, and they're true stories. And so when I read these are just so exciting, and you can see God working through this. And so what I recognized was I need to hear more of these. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to contact people that are doing this sort of work and listening to their story to see how God is working in their lives and, really making a difference in the world, fulfilling the Great Commission.
And you've heard a lot of stories that maybe aren't extremely common, or because you've sought it out, you found that there's some amazing people out there doing amazing things.
Absolutely.
So then you say, well, I want other people to hear that, which is cool. So
Yeah.
we've been talking about this project for a while, and I'm excited to see what comes out of it. I've heard a couple of the clips. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you release. You're editing and trying to put together kind of a series, so you'll be able to release more than one at a time.
Yep.
Probably. And how do you find these types of people, or where are you focused mostly? Is it like mostly people just in the neighborhood who are engaged, or is it people who are overseas, people who are going overseas? Like, what kind of stories are you specifically kind of seeking out?
Oh man, we're looking for anyone that can tell God's story, that are fulfilling the Great Commission. I mean, it's really wide open, and up to this point, we've been dealing with people that we know for the most part. I mean, you have your little circle of people that you have connections with. And basically, I'm just trying to go out and get their stories, and I'm hoping to be able to network through those people and through our listeners, and find more and more people that have just, stories of God working.
Yeah. Well, you've had a lot of interest when you've started it. You haven't had a lot of people say no.
No,
right? You've had a lot of people be like, yeah, sure. We're down. And you mentioned Brother Andrew. We had Ravi Zacharias died earlier in the year. And I remember thinking, man, I really screwed up by never prioritizing to go and see him and meet him, because, I've been, I'm sure, at churches or around churches that he's come to speak at. And I haven't really been involved in church for the last, close to 10 years. And in February, I sort of rejoined the church, and he died it was right before this coronavirus hit. And I remember thinking, man, I missed an opportunity. So then you had told me about Brother Andrew, and I read the book, The God Smuggler. And so we thought, well, hey, let's prioritize meeting Brother Andrew. Maybe we can get a recording of him. Maybe we can talk to him. Maybe we can meet him. And we actually bought plane tickets, and but with the coronavirus, we're not allowed to go. If we went to, even if they would let us fly there, even if we convinced them that it was essential travel, they force you to quarantine for 14 days.
Yeah.
And also, no matter where you fall politically on all the virus stuff, Brother Andrew would be high risk. I mean, he's in his 90s. Yeah. So he's, he doesn't need any extra risk for that. I wouldn't want to just, because Jordan's got it. He's probably. I said, Jordan's got it, and I live with Jordan. So
oh, gotcha. Yeah, Jordan
corona.
Obviously
he's riddled with
COVID-19. He might have COVID-20.
What are the odds he doesn't?
I mean, there's 5.5 million people in the U.S.
You should see how loose his mask is everywhere he goes. That's ridiculous. I'm just kidding. But, so I actually still hope to do that. I mean, I hope that Brother Andrew is around and that this thing clears up. It's weird how the present always seems like the permanent, right? You always feel like whatever you're in, this is it. If the economy's going down, it'll go down forever. If it's going up, it'll go up forever. And now that everything's locked down and it's been 5 months, it feels like
we're going to be locked down for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it's been more than a year, or it feels like it's been about a year. It's like twice as time is slowed down twice as much, I think. Because it feels like when I think about, oh yeah, well that was before the lockdown, and it's like, okay, it's only been 5 months. It's like, oof, it was a long 5 months.
This could be a long year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's something on Netflix that I haven't seen yet. So it's time to let me. Once I hit the last show, it's like the credits roll. I'm going outside.
There's going to be like confetti on your screen.
I'm
you
gonna
have
have
reached
to.
the end of Netflix.
Hopefully, I'm going to go outside a lot now, though, because my scooter's coming in the morning.
Yeah, the scooter.
Yeah, I bought a scooter that goes 50 miles an hour
For like 5 hours.
I'm going to put. I don't know
How long will it last?
It's not. It doesn't say how long as a time. It tells you how long in miles, and it says that it goes 70 miles.
Okay.
But all the reviews I've heard, that would be at like the lowest speed, the slowest eco 10 miles an hour or whatever. The reviews I read of people who are doing it off road and just riding it normal, they say it goes about between 40 and 45.
Which is a long way.
And what they say is, you know, if you're scootering for an hour and a half, which is about how long it would take you to go 40 miles at the speeds that it can take you, like you are exhausted. Like it just destroys your body at that point. I mean, because you're hanging. It's just rickety. It's just like the scooters that you rent that are stuck on the side of the street in all the cities. It's like that, only it's just way beefier and it's got a way bigger battery and it goes way faster. So, and it's got like knobby tires and suspensions. So
Did you
can
get
go
the
off-
knobby tires?
No, I got the
Oh,
street
okay.
tires
Yeah.
because I don't really plan on going off road. And even if I did, there's not that many off road spots on Newport Beach.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll take it on the sand. I don't care. And so I don't know if you're allowed to do that, but it's worth a
There's
try.
only one way to find out.
It's worth a try. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and that might get me outside more often.
Yeah.
But
Get some exercise by riding your electric scooter.
that's what I plan to do. So anyway, do you have a name for your podcast yet, or still
The
in the works?
commissioned podcast?
The commission podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioned.
And the Great Commission is go into all the world.
Yeah,
and preach
Matthew
the gospel.
28. Matthew 28 is, that's a summary of it.
So you said earlier that it's anybody who supports it or is local or is going overseas or whatever. So it's anybody who's contributing to that.
Yeah, the Great Commission. So if they're contributing towards the Great Commission, I'm interested.
Okay.
And really, I want to see how people are depending on God, trusting in God, and to see the work that God's been able to do through these people.
Yeah.
And it's been my observation that people that have remarkable stories, don't even realize that they have a story. They don't even see that something that they are experiencing on a daily basis is something that people should be writing books on. I don't write books,
Yeah.
so
We do podcasts.
so we record them.
Yeah. It's easier to put your thoughts down in a microphone than it is to put them down on paper. I find.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. So this podcast we're calling the Good Racer Podcast.
The Good Race.
The Good,
Good
Race.
Race?
The Good
And-
Race Podcast. Yes, I messed it up. This is the Good Race Podcast. And people who listen and join us, we would call them fellow good racers.
Yeah, they're good racers.
Yeah, because they're with us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even if
So
they're slow, they're still good racers.
it's not the fast race.
No,
Please.
no, no. Who wants
Gotcha. Who wants to
have
who wants to go fast when you
race?
can go good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the good race. And that's kind of robbed from fight the good fight and finish the race.
Yeah, and all throughout the Bible, it refers to the Christian life as a race,
Yeah.
and that there are people in heaven watching us and watching us go through this race.
And all of them are looking forward to when we get better at this podcast. Which we will. Once we have a format, when we're recording before 1:30 in the morning.
Is it only 1:30?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's exactly 1:33.
Yeah, I can see that it's 10:33 where I am, so I still have good energy.
Yeah.
Because I've been here for 4 days, and I refuse to get off of the time zone from the West Coast. I want to. I would like to go to bed at a normal time and then wake up with everybody in Michigan, but I'm staying awake till like 4 a.m. every morning. And it's like by the time it's 10 o'clock, I've only had 6 hours of sleep, and I'm like dragging myself out of bed going, yeah, I've had enough sleep now, but I'm still kind of tired, and it's already 10, and I feel the disdain of everybody in Michigan.
They're like, you lazy
You
sloth.
lazy sloth.
What are you doing rolling out of bed at 10 o'clock?
Sloth is one of the sins in the Bible.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Where exactly is that?
I don't know where.
Proverbs talks about lazy people who,
Yep.
and it's interesting the way it phrases it. Mm-hmm. And this is part of where, in the Proverbs, where Solomon's mom is kind of giving him some wisdom.
Yep.
And she's saying that, listen, if you're just going to wake up and then just stay there in bed, like you lazy person, like it looks at that type of person, and it's like, oh, it's so disgusting.
Yeah. They always say whenever you're talking about, you know, I hear Christians say when they're talking about a sin that's, you know, maybe considered big, like you're living with your girlfriend or something, and it's like, well, hey, sin is sin. And they always, anytime they say, well, sin is sin, they always go down. Like, he's sleeping with his girlfriend, but, you know, sometimes I'm lazy. You know, envy, gluttony. They always sort of go like what is generally considered maybe a lesser. Mm-hmm. They never go the other way. They're never like, you know, I slept in today and I just wouldn't get up. But hey, sin is sin. Some people sleep in.
Could have just murdered someone.
Yep, I'm a cannibal.
Yeah.
In God's eyes, I've eaten my brother. They don't have. It's always less. Sin is sin. So, I hope. I don't know where to go with that, but it's just an observation.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to downplay it, but nobody ever says, "Well, if sin is sin, then it's all across the board."
Yeah.
You punched your mother.
So ever since I read that, I do think to myself when I wake up, I think, all right, you need to get up. You know, the temptation is to like roll back over and sleep in if it's like on a Saturday or something. Mm-hmm. But the idea is, no, get up and attack your day. Go after it. Seize it.
Yeah, sort of the Tony Robbins approach.
I'm not familiar with Tony, but I'm sure
He's
that
a motivational speaker.
Oh, okay.
He probably would say that.
He would say, get up.
Yeah, he jumps into a freezing cold bath every morning to wake himself up.
Okay.
So he got me all pumped up. I'm like, I got an ocean right outside. It was like February. I'm like, yeah, it's perfect. I don't even need a expensive ice bath like he has in his house. I'll just run out to the ocean.
Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. So then I like put my bathing suit on in the morning. I woke up, put my bathing suit on, and then I like opened the door and it was like, it's all cold. And then, I mean, it's not cold like compared to Michigan, but you know, in February in California, it's still in like the 50s and the water is freezing cold. And I just remember like running out to the sand. It's the worst experience of my life. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to put my toe in. There's no way I'm going to jump in the water with it being this cold. But then when I got there, I was like, I can't wimp out either. Mm-hmm. So I jumped in, and that was the one and only time. What are you doing? Do you have a Charlie horse?
Yeah, really bad.
Charlie? I mean, I wasn't going to say anything.
Uh-huh.
but it seemed like more fun to say something.
Yeah. I'm in an enormous amount of pain.
Well, you could put the microphone down and solve it.
Well, yeah.
It's not like we're live.
I'm working on it. The microphone has no bearing on my leg. Believe it or not.
Well, I know, but the headphones might because you can't really bend down.
Almost got it.
Okay.
Been working on this basement.
You're dehydrated.
Yeah, I'm dehydrated. I've been working hard.
Huh.
So tell me about your ocean dip.
Anyway, I just did it, and I was like, "Yay, I'm a hero like Tony Robbins." And then when I got back in, I didn't really feel that much more awake. I felt colder, but now that I'm in salt water, you got to take a hot shower anyway. So like, I'm immediately comfortable, and then I'm sure. I don't know what the drill is, so I probably need a coach to like tell me how to jump in cold water. But I jumped in cold water, and then when I got home, I was like, I feel the same now after the shower. Mm-hmm. And the next morning, I woke up. I was like, time to get back in that ocean.
Let me guess. Let me predict what happened.
Shoot, you're going to be a better predictor. You're going to be as good as me now.
You did not go and jump in the ocean.
I didn't even walk outside.
No.
Yeah, that was a one-time thing. And before I was a Christian, just kidding. I remember telling the story. This just hit me. I told that story to somebody because we're talking a few years ago. This wasn't like it was when it was within the last 5 years, but this was a few years ago. I have told that story. I just remembered that I've done it. I did it twice.
Huh. You need to repent.
But I definitely only did it once. So, like, if you do something,
and the funny thing is,
if you make a decision,
think it makes it that much better. That
right.
You may have done it 100% more times than you actually did.
Right. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, nobody from the outside hears that you made a decision to do something extreme like that going forward.
Yeah.
Because you live on the ocean, you're going to take advantage of it. And you do it once, or they hear the same story and the punchline is you did it twice. No one thinks higher of you. Why would I ever tell the story?
He did it twice.
Why would I ever tell the story
he did it
with
twice.
2 as the punch grab?
I did it for a full month.
I don't know.
Once a month, I did it for a full month.
See, a full month makes a listener think maybe they wouldn't do it. But I think anybody could tie me for 2. and
by accident.
And I didn't even do it 2 times. I only did it once. I just somehow remember telling that story lying.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just a weird memory that occurred to me. But I'll never lie to you.
The truth is I didn't even jump in that once.
Yeah, no, I did.
How deep did you go?
Not very.
I mean, waist? I mean, we're talking over your head?
Yeah, where I live in Newport, the waves are actually pretty big.
Okay.
So if you were to go out, if the waves were to go exit, and you went out to where there was no water and you were standing on dry sand, when the next wave comes, it'll get up to your waist almost.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the water will rush, and so you don't have to go out very far. So all I had to do, what I did was I just ran out where it was dry as far as I could, and then when the water came in, I just dunked under really quick and then jumped up and then ran back home because I was freezing cold.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you're supposed to stay there for a bit.
Probably a little bit.
I was there probably like 3 seconds.
Oh.
Because I did have to go down so that my whole head went under for a second.
Okay.
And ran home. So, but
then you're all sandy and salty and
salty. You gotta rinse off. But I mean, I have a shower right there, so I don't know. It wasn't for me.
Yes. But don't be a sloth.
Yeah.
And
Because sin is sin.
sin is sin.
It's like kidnapping your neighbor's dog and setting it on fire is very sinful. And one time, I ate more than my fair share at dinner because I was gluttonous. Sin is sin. Same.
I've heard.
It's the argument.
Have you heard this idea that you're not supposed to, when you wake up and you're still lying in bed, that you're not supposed to like start getting on your phone? Have you heard this?
No.
So the idea is that like if you just sit there and you get on your phone, you're going to get into the cycle of madness, right? You're going to be checking your emails, going on YouTube, Facebook, whatever your shtick is.
Right.
You're going to, in bed, in the morning, get into that cycle.
Okay.
But then, like, you're wasting, like...
What? What am I supposed to do?
You're supposed to get up and you know, attack your day. You're supposed to make it yours.
Yeah, but when I wake up, I go to the bathroom.
Okay.
I don't pick up my phone.
Oh, all right.
Because...
Tell you, wash your hands.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, but do you ever go back to bed after you go to the bathroom?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't go back to bed after I get up. That would be slothful.
Okay. Yeah. Never.
Because I don't get up until I very absolutely have to.
Okay.
You know, I gotta be there at 8. I got a 45-minute drive. I wake up at 7:13.
Yeah. Okay.
So, just always operated like that. So, now I have heard that you're supposed to do some things in the morning to set your day right mentally and spiritually.
Okay.
Wake up, spend time with God, read, you know, and start off on the right foot. And if you hit snooze all the way one past the one you should, then when you wake up, you're in a hurry.
Okay.
That's how I normally start my day. So, not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what I do. I'm like a 9-time snoozer.
Okay. You're one of those. So you set your alarm way before you need it. And then
I actually don't. I set my alarm at the ideal time that I would like to get up.
Okay.
But that ideal time includes like probably 40 minutes of, you know, shower, shave, you know, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, be able to watch something funny on TV or your phone or whatever it is. Like just be able to have some time to yourself, or be able to look at the day, the calendar on the day, and like prepare and like just sort of get your head straight and get a game plan.
Yeah.
But typically, again, with coronavirus, it's probably a little different, but typically I just, I'll get 9 more minutes. And then, and I'm like, oh shoot, I should have left 6 minutes ago. And then turn and burn. Up.
Okay.
Power pee. Out the door.
And how, let's not get into the details of power peeing.
You just push harder.
You don't have to do the Spider-Man or anything.
There's no secret. It's just trying. You're already late. So you wish you didn't have to go because you really should be on the road.
Okay.
And now using the bathroom first thing in the morning has become an inconvenience.
Yes.
It's wrecking your day.
Okay.
It's going to make you late for your first meeting. This won't make the show. It probably will, but
I wake up without an alarm.
Okay.
Because I have a wife who wakes me up. And
what else does she do? You've told me.
No, we're not going to get into that.
No, well, you have to now because
she just wakes me up, and then when she wakes me up, it takes me a few minutes.
Yeah.
To it's hard to wake me up, first of all.
Okay.
But once I wake up, I need maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes to just lay there and go, just sort out my thoughts, and then I can get up and go. Wow. But yeah, no, she's very good to me. Like she prepares me for the day.
Well, you told me she makes you breakfast.
She does typically make me breakfast.
Yeah.
When we were first married, I'm not joking, she would wake up.
Cereal, milk in your face?
No. She would take potatoes, boil them, grate them, fry them into hash browns. She would make me fresh eggs and from chickens. No, and we didn't have chickens at that time. We have had chickens, but not at that time.
Yeah, what happened to your chickens? I keep hearing about chickens.
Chickens don't last long.
Oh. Not around the Liggets.
They last a couple of years.
There's a lot of breakfasts.
No, she just didn't want to do chickens this year.
Yeah, okay.
So, but
she wakes you up.
She would make me bacon
awesome.
And eggs and homemade hash browns. We're not talking from frozen bags.
Yep.
She'd make me full on hash browns and toast and butter, and then she would come up and wake me up.
But you're saying would, so is that a season pass now?
Well, no.
Has Corona changed
it? No. See, she still does that. Just not as an elaborate of a breakfast.
I see.
But when we were first married, it was a surprise to me. It wasn't like you asked her to do this.
This is what I need.
Yeah. There was nothing, no place in my world did I expect
You're my wife.
A wife to be making me breakfast at all, right? Like your standard for how your wife will be is how you saw your parents, right? Like my dad made my mom breakfast.
That's
most
what
of the time
my dad makes my mom breakfast. So the assumption is if breakfast is going to be made, it's going to be me.
Yeah.
But there's no time for that.
And sometimes I do. I love making breakfast for the family. Yeah. But when we first got married, I couldn't believe it. It was like, what is this? And so it wasn't a surprise when I started gaining weight in my first year of marriage.
Well, everybody gains weight when they're first married.
But then, to this day, she'll make me breakfast that that will be healthy, and typically it's something that I can go to work with.
Okay.
So
well, you got to keep her. Awesome. Well, I think this is a good time to wrap up.
All right. Yeah.
This is our first show of the Good Racer podcast. I'm Davey.
I'm Steve.
And this is Steve's studio. Thanks for having me here. And I can't wait to see what you do with this place. We're going to have to keep up because I think Jordan and I are going to use my bedroom.
Oh.
So I'm going to have to get rid of my bed. Otherwise, we won't have any room. So I'm going to figure out another sleeping arrangement.
Teepees are better in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways, teepees are better. So that sounds good, man.
All right.
Good show.
Thank
Cheers.
you.